This program brought to you in part by the Erica Lewis Endowment Fund.
Coming up next on Varsity Quiz, it's the Meadows taking on Coronado. This is Varsity Quiz. Hi, welcome to the 53rd season of Varsity Quiz. We've got the best and brightest high school students matching wits in this unique academic competition. As we hope you know by now, there are 2 Varsity Quiz leagues in each season's competition. The road to the Silver League Championship continues as the Meadows is taking on Coronado. Now, Meadows defeated Foothill in the quarterfinals to get here. Let's meet their starters. For the Meadows, there's Kira. Hi, Kira.
Hello.
Ben, howdy Ben.
Yeah.
Raul, howdy. And Lawrence. And the coaches for the Meadows, Tom Garvey and Gary Handley. Starters for Coronado, there's Megan. Hey Megan,
Hi.
Good to see you again. Hey Mason.
Hello.
There's Frank.
Hi.
And Lev.
Hello.
And the coach for Coronado, Matt Averman. Students, you ready? Let's play Varsity Quiz. What part of a letter above the salutation might read as follows? Oliver Hardy, 210 West Vine Street, Hollywood, California, 92218. We'll go with Meadows. Ben?
Sending address.
Incorrect. Coronado, Frank?
Heading.
No, it's the inside address. No points yet. In what novel by Robert Heinlein do kids fly to the moon with their brilliant scientist friend and find a Nazi secret base? That's Rocket Ship Galileo. No points yet. Next question. The Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race takes place in March and, according to the state of Alaska, commemorates those intrepid mushers and their dogs who fought through blizzard conditions to bring a life-saving serum to the residents of Nome. What disease was the cause? Coronado, Mason?
Diphtheria.
Yes. Points on the board. Whose portrait appears on a $2 bill? Coronado, Frank?
Thomas Jefferson.
Yes. Which ancient kingdom began in modern-day Algeria and at its height stretched across Tunisia, Libya, and part of Morocco? Coronado, Mason?
Carthage.
Incorrect. We're looking for Numidia. Next question. What's the appositive in this sentence? After the expedition, Kent gave the guide, a young Sherpa, his tent. Meadows, Ben?
A young Sherpa.
Yes. Next is a calculation question. If the length of a rectangle is 5 meters less than twice its width and its perimeter is 44 meters, what are the rectangle's dimensions? I'll repeat. The length of the rectangle, 5 meters less. Meadows, Lawrence?
The length is 13 and the width is 9.
Yes. What term for the separation of paint layers on a painting is the same as the term for the splitting of a mineral along definite planes? Meadows, Ben?
The layering.
No? We're looking for cleavage. Next question. In the 14th century, who was the founder of the Timurid Empire and the first ruler of the Timurid dynasty? The Meadows, Raul?
Tamerlane.
Yes. What is the surname of the man noted in this 1921 Chicago Daily newspaper headline? Say it ain't so, Joe. The Meadows, Ben?
Harding.
No. Coronado, Mason?
DiMaggio.
No, Joe Jackson of the Chicago White Sox. Next question. Which classic of 20th century literature begins, once upon a time, and a very good time it was, there was a moo cow coming down along the road, and this moo cow that was coming down the road met a nice little boy named Baby Tuckoo. A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. Next question. Which capital city has had traffic brought to a standstill by protests? Coronado, Frank?
Ottawa.
Yes. Rhyming with Brando and Orlando, which Italian music term means getting softer or, Meadows, Lawrence?
Decrescendo.
Incorrect, or dying away, and that is an interrupt with a deduction. Coronado Mason?
Retardando.
No, we're looking for calando. No points awarded for any answers on that one. Okay, next is a calculation question. Boris can set up an elaborate trap for Bullwinkle moose in 5 hours. But if Natasha pitches in together, they can do the job in 2 hours. How long would it take Natasha to do the job alone? Repeating, Boris sets up an elaborate trap for Bullwinkle moose in 5 hours. If Natasha pitches in together, they do the job in 2 hours. How long would it take? We'll go with Meadows. Lawrence?
3 hours and 20 minutes.
Yes. Which award did Rudyard Kipling, William Butler Yeats, George Bernard Shaw, Thomas Mann, Sinclair Lewis, Pearl Buck, T.S. Eliot, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and Bob Dylan all win? Coronado, Frank?
Pulitzers?
Incorrect. The Meadows, Ben?
Nobel Prize for Literature.
Yes. One of the most famous labor leaders of the 20th century also spent time in federal prison for conspiracy and fraud, then disappeared in 1975. Which union did Jimmy Hoffa lead? The Meadows, Ben?
Teamsters.
Yes. Which rock consists entirely of diatom shells, is used for water filtration, as a mild abrasive, and as a stabilizer for explosives after processing? Coronado, Frank?
Pumice?
Incorrect. Meadows, Ben?
Lithium.
Pardon me?
Lithium.
No, we were looking for diatomaceous earth. Next question, what's the longest free-flowing river east of the Mississippi? Shares its name with a Native American tribe. Coronado, Mason?
Potomac.
Incorrect. Meadows, Ben?
Arapaho.
No, it's the Delaware. If the object is to outflank your opponent, flip the opponent's discs to your color. The Meadows, Ben?
Tiddlywinks.
Pardon me?
Tiddlywinks.
Incorrect, and that is an interrupt. What game are you playing? Othello. Next question. What's the surname of the main character in the following books? Ramona the Pest. Ramona the...
Quimby.
The Meadows, Lawrence.
Quimby.
Yes. Next is a calculation question. Archie approaches the intersection of Eastern and Flamingo at a velocity of plus 30 meters per second. The light turns yellow, he brakes hard, skidding to a stop. If Archie's acceleration is negative 8.00 meters per second squared, how far? Meadows, Lawrence?
50 meters.
Incorrect. And that is an interrupt. How far to the nearest tenth did this car skid? Oh, and repeating, Archie approaches the intersection of Eastern and Flamingo at a velocity of 30 meters per second. The light turns yellow. He brakes hard, skidding to a stop. If Archie's acceleration is negative 8.00 meters per second squared, how far to the nearest tenth did the car skid? Coronado, Frank?
56.3 meters.
Yes. Originally, Las Vegas High School occupied an Art Deco building at 315 South 7th Street. Which school now occupies that building? Coronado, Megan?
Las Vegas Academy of the Arts.
Yes. What condemned Persephone to spending 6 months of the year? Meadows, Ben?
Eating pomegranate seeds.
Okay, so that is incorrect. Coronado, Megan?
Eating 12 pomegranate seeds.
That's incorrect. It was 6, so no points there. Lyrics about a bouncing hobo's pack are found in a national song. For which country? Meadows, Ben?
Albania.
Incorrect. Coronado, Frank?
Mexico.
No, it's Australia. Which famed American industrialist, when asked about his limited express trains and accommodating the public, replied, "Accommodation of the public? The public." Coronado, Mason?
Vanderbilt.
Yes. That's the end of our first round, but don't go anywhere. We're going to get to know our players a little bit better. We're going to start here over at the Meadows, and we say hello again to 11th grader Kira. Hi, Kira.
Hello.
Good to see you again. You wrote down something as your favorite movie. Do you remember what that was?
Oh, yes, The Princess Bride.
How many times have you seen it?
Enough times to pretty much have it memorized. so-
Awesome. I love that movie. Good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Kira. Here's 10th grader Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
Tell me, what is a Model United Nations?
Well, it's a club where basically you get assigned a country and then you get a resolution basically and you hammer it out with random strangers until you reach a consensus.
Wow, that's a wonderful thing. Good luck with that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Ben. Here's a senior, Raul. Hi, Raul. Tell me the value of learning the language of Latin.
Well, I'm not Christian, so I don't use it in church. But Latin, it helps you tap into the antiquity and the basis of Western philosophy.
Excellent. Thanks, man. And good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Here's 11th grader Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence.
Hey.
It says here that you like bowling. Is there a bowling club at the Meadows? Or a bowling
Yeah,
team?
we do it as a sport. I just competed in individual state and won 4th place in 3A.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
Good luck here on Varsity Quiz. That's our team from the Meadows. And now we meet our players from Coronado, starting with Megan. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Welcome back. Tell me about competing in a poetry contest.
Yeah, I competed in a poetry contest my sophomore year as a joke, and then I won it. And then I competed in the same one my junior year and won it again. And so
Now,
I'm,
is this writing poetry or
Yes.
just reciting poetry?
this is writing poetry.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck with that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Here's 11th grader Mason. Hi, Mason.
Hello.
Welcome back. Good to see you again. It says something here about heart volunteering.
Lions Heart Volunteering.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Lions Heart is a website where you can log volunteer hours, and so far I've racked up around 100 hours, and I've been the leader of a small group of volunteers.
Wonderful. Keep it up, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Mason. Here's 11th grader Frank. Hi, Frank.
Hello.
Tell me about the Fall Festival down there at Coronado.
I ran a booth in the Fall Festival.
What is the Fall Festival?
It was a thing that we organized. I wasn't the one in charge of it, but I was pretty much assigned to do a little booth, and it was about Varsity Quiz.
You were spreading the VQ word.
Yeah.
You go, Frank. Thank you so much, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Here's senior Lev. Hey, Lev, welcome
Hello.
back. Says here, you like cycling.
I do. It is very.
Do you bicycle all over town? You do trails, or how does
Yeah,
that work?
I like to bicycle all over town. Sometimes I do trails, and it's one of my favorite forms of exercise.
Well, keep biking, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. That's our team from Coronado. And our bonus round is coming right up. And our score going into round two, the Meadows with 15 points to Coronado's 30. We have one new player on each team. For the Meadows, we say hello to Sam. Hey, Sam, welcome.
Hey.
Good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Coronado has a new player. It's Mira. Hi, Mira.
Hi.
Welcome aboard. Now, this round is timed at 6 minutes, starting as I start this question. One of the most iconic musical compositions of the last century captures the rhythms and tempos of modern urban life, was written for solo piano and jazz band. Who composed Rhapsody in Blue? Meadows, Lawrence?
George Gershwin.
Yes, bonus questions now for the Meadows only. Answer the following questions about Gershwin. First, in addition to compositions like An American in Paris and I Got Rhythm, he wrote one of the most famous American operas. What's its title? Second, Rhapsody in Blue contains a number of solos. Which instrument opens the piece with a long trill followed by a legato? You have 10 seconds.
The first one, Not sure. Okay, fine.
Captain?
For the first, American Gothic. For the second, clarinet.
Clarinet is correct. The opera is Porgy and Bess, so you get some bonus points. Now, this question for both teams. It's a calculation question, students. A hydraulic fluid has a specific gravity of 0.72, and the weight of 1 cubic foot of water is 62.4 pounds. To the nearest tenth, what's the weight of 1 cubic foot of the hydraulic fluid? Repeating. The hydraulic fluid has a specific gravity of 0.72, the weight of 1 cubic foot of water, 62.4 pounds. To the nearest tenth, what's the weight of 1 cubic foot of the hydraulic fluid? Coronado Frank?
44.9 pounds.
Yes. Bonus questions now for Coronado only. Bonus calculation questions. First, expressed in the MMDDYYY format, what was the only palindromic date in the year 1321? Second, 10 cashews and 6 walnuts cost $1, while 10 walnuts and 6 cashews cost 92 cents. So what's the cost of 1 walnut? Repeating, expressed in the MMDDYYY format, what was the only palindromic date in the year 1321? Second, 10 cashews and 6 walnuts cost $1, while 10 walnuts and 6 cashews cost 92 cents. What's the cost of 1 walnut? And you have 10 seconds. For calculation, we'll give you a little longer.
First answer, 12/31, 13/21. Second answer, 60 cents.
The date is correct. The cost was 5 cents. So some bonus points, but not all. And this question now for both teams. Which city was home to the busiest port on the American West Coast in 1900? Coronado, Frank?
San Francisco.
Yes, bonus questions now for Coronado, only about American ports. The 2 busiest ports in the country are on the Pacific Ocean. Name either one. Second, the 3rd busiest is an Atlantic Ocean port that incorporates 2 states. What are they? You have 10 seconds.
New York and New Jersey for the second one.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are they looking for the same?
And for the first one, I think in
Pacific
Seattle.
port?
Yeah. First one, I think in Seattle.
Okay.
First answer, Seattle. Second answer, New York and New Jersey.
New York and New Jersey are correct. On the West Coast, it's Los Angeles or Long Beach. So some bonus points. Now this question for both teams. Fred the Cat, so certain that Cincinnati would win the Super Bowl, he bet half of his savings. He reached that conclusion while dining at his favorite Chinese restaurant. Why was Fred so certain about the winner? Meadows, Ben?
A fortune cookie.
No? Coronado, Mason?
Superstition?
No, 2022 is the year of the tiger. Next question for both teams. Viral infections like Lassa, Marburg, and dengue cause severe life-threatening symptoms that include high temperatures, damage to the walls of blood vessels causing them to leak. What's the name for this group of illnesses? The Meadows, Sam?
Parasites?
No? Coronado, Frank?
Tropical diseases?
No, they are hemorrhagic fevers. Next question for both teams. Poetry takes many forms and styles. One of the most revolutionary volumes of poetry, repeatedly re-edited from 1855 until the final deathbed edition in 1892, was Leaves. The Meadows, Ben?
Walt Whitman.
Yes, bonus questions now for the Meadows only about poetry. First, the 17th century poet Matsuo Bash was a master of which form of poetry, one known for its 5-7-5 syllabic pattern? Second, who wrote, "One if by land, two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be Paul Revere's ride"? You have 10 seconds.
Washington Irving, probably.
No, I think, what was it, Bradstreet?
Irving seems likely.
Okay, Washington Irving. For the first haiku, for the second Washington Irving.
Haiku is correct. The poet is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Again, so some bonus points. This question for both teams. Begun in 1926, completed in 1938, what was the first highway to connect Chicago and Los Angeles? The Meadows, Ben?
Route 66.
Yes, bonus questions now for the Meadows only. About roads. First, at 646 miles, what's the longest highway in Nevada? Second, in the interstate highway system, what feature tells a driver if the route runs west to east? You have 10 seconds.
Numbers.
And then for this first one, I'm going to say it's Route 3.
Route 3, are you sure? Are you sure it's not US 95?
Yep, yes, that's it.
Okay, for that one, try Canadian.
Captain.
All right. For the first, US 95. For the second, even numbers.
Both are correct. You got bonus points. Okay, so this question for both teams. Which sport in the Winter Olympics features competitions on the normal and large hill? Coronado, Frank?
Skiing?
That's not correct. Meadows, Ben?
Toboggan.
No, it's ski jumping. That is the end of our bonus round. Speed round next. All right, going into round 3. I don't think this has happened in quite a while. We're actually tied. Both the Meadows and Coronado have 50 points apiece. Now the Meadows is keeping the same players. Coronado has added one new player. There's Adrian. Hi, Adrian.
Hello.
Let's go now with our third round. What was the last presidential election with only 48 states voting? The Meadows, Ben?
1956.
Yes. Approximately 20% of the oxygen produced annually on Earth comes from what microscopic one-celled algae? Coronado, Adrian?
Amoeba.
And that is an interrupt. Go ahead, Meadows Sam.
Cyanobacteria?
Pardon me?
Cyanobacteria?
No, it features cell walls of silica consisting of two interlocking symmetrical valves. We're looking for diatoms, no points, and we move on. Who lived at 221A Baker Street in London? Meadows, Ben?
Sherlock Holmes.
That's not the answer we're looking for. Coronado, Mason?
Dr. John Watson.
No, we were looking for Mrs. Hudson. The anapestic and dactylic meters involve poetic measures of how many syllables? Meadows, Lawrence?
3.
Yes. Which state's representatives in Statuary Hall at the U.S. Capitol are Robert La Follette and Jacques Marquette? Meadows, Raoul?
Wisconsin.
Yes. Fossils of what massive proboscideans that became extinct 10,000 years ago have been found at sites from Alaska to Florida? The Meadows, Ben?
Raptors.
No? Coronado, Frank?
Woolly mammoths?
No, we're looking for mastodons. Next question. Who's the mayor of North Las Vegas? Coronado, Mira?
Mayor Deborah March.
No? John Lee. Which Canadian province features the smallest land area? Coronado, Mason?
Prince Edward Island.
Yes. Next is a calculation question not repeated in the third round. 1/2 of Maggie's age 2 years from now plus 1/3 of her age 3 years ago is 20. How old is Maggie now? Meadows, Lawrence?
24.
Yes. What did a medieval chandler make and sell? Meadows, Ben?
Swords.
Incorrect. Coronado, Mason?
Chains.
No, it was candles or wax products. What theory prompted Albert Einstein to write, "God doesn't play dice with the universe"? Coronado, Frank?
Theory of relativity.
Incorrect. Meadows, Lawrence?
Chaos theory.
No, the theory of quantum physics. Next question. The cornfield, the stone bridge, and the sunken road were all parts of which Civil War battle? The Meadows, Ben?
Gettysburg.
Incorrect. Coronado, Mira?
Antietam.
Yes. Who modified Sigmund theory by claiming that the human psyche consisted of the ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious? The Meadows, Sam?
Carl Jung.
Yes. Which event in track and field uses a 16-pound ball attached to a handle with a wire? Coronado, Frank?
Hammer.
Judges? Yes. Okay. That is correct. What is the term for the egg mass or spawn of lobsters, shrimp, scallops, and sea urchins? Coronado, Frank?
Row.
Yes. The Oregon Trail ran approximately 2,000 miles, ended in Oregon City, Oregon. What was its starting point? Coronado, Mason?
Independence, Missouri.
Yes. Next is a calculation question, no repeating. Tritium's half-life is 12.26 years. How much time is needed before a sample of that isotope loses 75% of its radioactivity? Coronado, Mason?
24.52 years.
Yes. The start of the zodiac year is March 21. What's the first sign? Coronado, Mira?
Aries.
Yes. The name of what character created by J.M. Barrie was based on that of the Greek god of the woods, fields, and flocks? Coronado, Mason?
Pan.
Yes. Trinidad lies off the northeastern coast of which country? The Meadows, Ben?
Venezuela.
Yes. Which nation won the most medals during the delayed Tokyo Olympics? Coronado, Frank?
United States.
Yes. Sydney was behind a car with an oval sticker with the letters CH. He knew that the car was imported from which country? Coronado, Mason?
China.
Incorrect. The Meadows, Lawrence?
Chile.
No, it's Switzerland. Before handheld calculators became ubiquitous, what device helped somebody solve calculations that required more than addition or subtraction? The Meadows, Lawrence?
Abacus.
No. Coronado, Adrian?
Pascaline.
No, we're looking for a slide rule. T.S. Eliot wrote Old Possum's Book of Practical Blank. Coronado, Frank?
Jokes.
Nope. The Meadows, Ben?
Advice.
No, it was cats. Next question. What's Australia's longest river? The Meadows, Ben?
Ire.
No. Coronado, Frank?
Mackenzie.
No, it's the Murray River. Calculation question, students. Dry sand weighs 3/4 ton per cubic yard. How many pounds of this sand are needed to completely fill a hole 18 feet by 5 feet to a depth of 3 feet? Coronado, Mason.
15,000 pounds.
Incorrect. We're looking for 6,000 pounds. From 1889 to 1984, Chicago was America's second city. Which city has held the second city designation since then? Coronado, Frank?
Los Angeles?
Yes. What's the rarest mineral and gemstone in the world? The Meadows, Ben?
Gold.
Incorrect. Coronado, Mason? No, it's painite. Are we out of time? All right, let's find out who won. Now, before we get to our final score, what you're going to see, it may have been affected by one of the answers. The question about the character created by J.M. Barrie based on that of the Greek god of the woods, we accepted the answer Pan when we shouldn't have, so those points are being taken away. The answer should have been Peter Pan. So the final score, the Meadows with 75 points to Coronado's 90. Congratulations to both teams, really an excellent match. And our congratulations, Coronado gets the win and they will move on to the championship. And we want you to tune in next week when Liberty takes on Clark in our other semifinal to find out who Coronado will play. Sure to be an exciting match on Varsity Quiz on Vegas PBS.